More talk that Peyton Manning should take a pay cut. If he is on the roster as of March 9th, he will be fully guaranteed $19 million. That's his base salary for 2015. If he did take a pay cut, it would be easier for the Broncos to re-sign free agent Demaryius Thomas and Julius Thomas, perhaps giving them better chances at a Super Bowl run. So here's the question. We discussed it earlier for just a moment off the top of the show. Do you believe that Peyton Manning should take a pay cut? Skip Bayless.
Yeah, before I answer that, I didn't get to formally thank my friend Stephen A. for braving iced over roads from D.C. to Chapel Hill to get here. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. You and I go back and forth about this concept. This is just me. This is my 2 cents about Peyton's $19 million that he will make if he's on that roster starting March 9th.
Okay.
Or Kobe's. What you always tell me how much? What is it? 22, 25. Yeah. Okay. Bless you. See, it's cold here, man.
It is. And we hope you're healthy.
It's all right. I'm good. I'm good.
All right.
Just a little sneeze.
If I were Kobe, or I were Peyton Manning, and I were entering into what probably will be my final year, Peyton at age 39, and I was scheduled to make $19 million when I'm in every other commercial that we see on television. God knows how much he makes off the field on top of the $19 million. Now, you say you're a capitalist and that you just get what you're worth, and he's certainly worth $19 million. But if I were Peyton Manning, honestly, from my heart, I would say I want to play for free next year. Now, they would force me to take the NFL minimum. They would, I don't know what they'd force me to take the minimum, and then I could play for incentives, which wouldn't count against my salary cap.
Right.
But if I am in danger of losing Demaryius Thomas and Julius Thomas, and my offensive line did not protect me very well last year, and it needs some holes plugged, then why wouldn't I say, John Elway, I'm going to let you enter into the free agent market with fistfuls of my dollars. I'll take less money. I'll take minimum money with incentives so that you can maximize my chances of winning a ring in my final year. It just makes all the sense in the world, unless you're Stephen A. Smith. Then I don't get it.
Free.
You are absolutely right. That makes no sense to me whatsoever when you're talking about somebody playing a violent sport like football for free. I am a proud capitalist. I am about my dollars, and I totally support this man going for his. However, I will acknowledge to you, I agree with some of what you said. I wouldn't go so far as to say free. I wouldn't go so far as to say the minimum. But should Peyton Manning take a pay cut? Absolutely he should. Now, let's explain the difference between Peyton Manning and Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, 5 rings. Peyton Manning 1, number 1. Number 2, Kobe Bryant, Jim Buss, Peyton Manning, John Elway.
Yep.
Jim Buss coming to me telling me he wants me to take a pay cut, okay? It's like somebody coming to me asking me to pay their bills. We're going to have a problem. You understand? Because the fact is that when you look at Jim Buss, he has no plan. He has nothing that he has proven he can execute. So it makes sense to me why Kobe would sit there and say, bump that, I'm not doing this. What plan are you showing me that should convince me to take a pay cut? Particularly when this window of opportunity for me to make this money is literally near its end. In the case of Peyton Manning, I have John Elway to look at. John Elway, okay, got me Demaryius Thomas, got me Julius Thomas, got me Emmanuel Sanders instead of Eric Decker, got me Wes Welker, had no Sean Moreno, had Monty Ball, then went out got C.J. Anderson for me. Offensive line was putrid last year, particularly when Clady went down. This year it was better, although it wasn't elite, it was better.
Going to offseason,
they were a little better. Going to offseason, DeMarcus Ware, T.J. Ward, Aqib Talib. So what I'm saying is that even though it didn't pan out, a legitimate argument could be made. It would have had Peyton come to play. From the moment he got beat up against St. Louis, he never appeared to be the same. They ran the ball significantly more over the last several weeks than they had prior to him getting beat up 22-7 at St. Louis, okay, near the the latter part of the season. So I'm looking at it from the perspective that if John Elway is sitting up there on his perch, he's saying, I gave you some personnel. I made some decisions. I put you in a position to win a Super Bowl championship, but you got that quad injury. You got hurt. You weren't yourself. So to me, John Elway coming up to Peyton Manning and wanting him to take a pay cut makes sense, because if you're Peyton Manning, you can't deny that this dude went out and did a lot for you to buffer that roster so you could legitimately contend for a Super Bowl championship. That is the difference between Kobe and Peyton Manning. Kobe can't say that. Peyton Manning can. So in light of that reality, Peyton Manning, with all the money that he has made, not even including the commercials, if somebody sits there and says to you, look, I got to take care of the Thomases. I got to buffer this offensive line.
Yep.
I know you were going to get about 20 mil. How about 10? He should do that.
He should do that.
He should do that.
Yeah, I agree. So you're saying in Kobe's situation, Kobe can't trust Jim Buss to spend the money that Kobe would give back. Is that what you're saying?
I have only said that about 10,000 times.
Okay, well,
because Jim Buss.
We're reiterating for our
That's right.
Our
I know
fans
that. I'm just letting you know. I'm not messing with you. I'm just saying. I want to make it very, very clear. I've been saying this about Jim Buss for years.
Okay, so I'm going to remind you that in San Antonio, Tim Duncan, who made the All-Star team and was the best Spur through the first half of the season, for what that's worth, is making a mere $10 million when you could argue he's still worth $25 million. He is still the driving force of the basketball team that I still think is going to win the NBA championship.
I just don't want people getting into this habit where you look at players who have this short window of opportunity to maximize their potential, okay, and you're messing with their dollars, quote unquote, for the best interest of the team. Excuse me, the team has to have an upper echelon, a hierarchy that knows how to handle their business. When we sitting here and talking to these young whippersnappers up in here trying to teach them a thing or two, let's make sure we make them understand. You make these sacrifices, it needs to be for a reason. Because if you're not doing it for an adroit reason, a wise reason, then you're just throwing away money. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure you spend your money wisely. So if spending your money, because taking a pay cut is a roundabout way of spending your money, it needs to be for a pretty damn good reason. And I would say to you that if you have an organization like the San Antonio Spurs who know what they're doing, then it justifies Tim Duncan taking a pay cut. If you have an organization that's run by Jim Buss, it does not. It is that simple. And Peyton Manning in Denver is comparable to San Antonio, not in terms of championships, but in terms of a visionary, somebody who's been there, who's done it, who appears to know what he's doing. John Elway has the cachet, the credentials, the credibility to sit there and say to Peyton Manning, I need you to curb some of this cost for me so I can do X, Y, and Z, because he has shown that he knows what he's doing.
Okay, there is still this guy named Mitch Kupchak, who's the GM of the Lakers.
Yes.
And you can't, thank you. I thought I would bring him up because I think he has a Carolina tie.
He does have a connection.
Yes, I think he does.
Yeah.
So you discount the abilities of Mitch Kupchak because of Jim Buss, because you're saying Jim Buss is the only decision maker when I think he gets some input. I think he listens.
He gets input from Mitch Kupchak, but how can I say this respectfully? Because I am a fan of Mitch Kupchak. I think he's a very good general manager. He knows what he's doing. He garners the respect. But there is a reason that Irvin Magic Johnson himself came on our show and talked about Jim Buss needing to be moved out of the way and Jeannie Buss needing to hand the reins to Mitch Kupchak. That implies what I will say directly. Jim Buss is in Mitch Kupchak's way. Now, Mitch Kupchak obviously loves Los Angeles, loves La, doesn't want to leave, loves his job and all of that stuff, and he ain't trying to get booted out the door. So it's one of those situations where he has successfully gone about the business of ingratiating himself with Jim Buss. But in the end, what it comes down to is that it is Jim Buss and his ego reigning over Laker Nation. That is a problem. I cannot judge the job that Mitch Kupchak has or has not done as long as Jim Buss is around.
Okay, so to sum this up, if Peyton Manning announced this afternoon, I will take a $10 million pay cut to play next year in Denver.
You should be happy about that.
And would he not be an even bigger hero than he is right now to Bronco fans?
Well, no, he wouldn't be.
I think he would be.
Let me tell you why he wouldn't be. Because Tom Brady has 4 rings. You have 1. So
now, Tom Brady keeps taking, he's not taking pay cuts, but Tom keeps shifting money into the future.
No, what I'm saying is that when you talk about hero, you talk about somebody being celebrated. You might give Peyton Manning a round of applause. But you ain't throwing no parade for that brother until he wins a champion, another Super Bowl championship, which he has not done.
I'm going to make the same contention. If 2 years ago, when Jim Buss came to Kobe and said, here, I want to give you this much money for the next 2 years, if Kobe had said, no, I'll take half of that, I'm going to maximize our chances, I think Kobe would have also been a hero, even more of a hero to those in Los Angeles.
I got news for you. You need to go to a Laker game. He's still a hero. People love Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I mean,
do they love the team?
Well, of course they don't love the team. But again, that ain't Kobe's fault, because a legitimate argument could be made that the man running the Lakers organization makes decisions based on his ego and his emotion as opposed to what is best for Laker Nation. That is the problem. I am not accusing Jim Buss of not knowing what he's doing. It's worse than that. He knows. He just didn't care as much as he cares about his ego.
Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the Cowboys. I talked about it before the break. We're hearing now that the Cowboys may not be able to give Des Bryant a contract based on character issues. Our Ed Werder is reporting.
They're concerned. They have some apprehensions about some of the off-the-field issues that Des Bryant is still plagued by quite quietly. Now, we all know that the NFL has instituted a harsher personal conduct policy, and the penalties are more severe for violators. So there's that concern if they sign him to a long-term deal with big money up front. But if they don't give him the big money up front, and he only gets $13 million instead of like $40 million as a signing bonus, then the concern is, well, how's he going to react to that? Feeling like he's being exploited, he's being taken advantage of by the team, which has not been the relationship he's had to this point. Would that affect his attitude in the locker room, his willingness to compete on the field on Sunday? That's the decision the Cowboys have to make with Des Bryant.
All right. Des Bryant and character issues may stop a contract.